Right, firstly, I would like everybody to know that you are loved. Know that you are loved. Welcome back to the best thing you watch this week. It's good Chris from Movies and Munchies. I'm loving Chris's spiky hair. I got Ruben. That's me. I got myself from the Ruby Tuesday. Today we're going to talk more Halloween-y things. General run is similar. If you're first time, we do a pop quiz of movies. We talk about a question that is in the zeitgeist of entertainment. Then we talk about the best thing we watch. Then we're going to talk about some Halloween stuff. Then in the audio exclusive content, wherever you listen to audio podcasts, we talk about a film we haven't seen for a while or didn't quite make that trend or cut. And then entertainment news and what we're looking forward to. And then the Patreon, which starts at just £1. We are talking about the 3 Halloween movies this week that we have to watch for every Halloween year. Like, I'm sure they swap out, but most years there'll be a selection of films that you want to watch. That's what we're going to be talking about. We have, I think, just under 10 Patreons now that are with us, which is very cool. We've got a good bunch of people there that are in a different tiers, movie beard, which means you can choose what film that you want us to cover in like the month, TV beard, a TV series. And there's different tiers for things that you might like a little bit more input in or get us to do, like Fro, who's been on with us for a number of times because he's on Godbeard, which gets to be with us. But the first tier starts free. Some stuff is outside of the payment, but then you can just start for £1, which is about $1.50, and that might help us pay for a cup of coffee, a slice of cheesecake, some blood. Who knows? Where do you think I get this blood from? This blood isn't cheap. I need some orange juice. I need some orange juice after I've lost this much blood, dude.
And a cookie.
and a cookie. Seymour. All right, so let's get stuck in. Feed me, Seymour.
Suddenly, Seymour. Oh, dude, I got to go watch that again now.
It's such a good film. It's been years, actually. I really need to watch it.
Yeah, it's outstanding.
All right, well, I drink from my mug that is all the way from Disneyland in the US. Why don't you tell us about the quiz or who won last week, Chris, and perhaps you have some more?
I do have more. Apparently, maybe I got a little vague, which is not going to help anybody this week, but Elijah Talbot and Tara Briscoe got the right answers for last week's quiz, which was The Muppet Movie, My Blue Heaven, and Three Amigos.
Yeah, I got none of these.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to get Three Amigos. It looked like it clicked.
I recognized it, but I haven't seen the Three Amigos for like 15 years. So It's like, yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Well, so the common tie within that was Steve Martin.
Yeah, of course. The legendary dude. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This week, 3 more. You ready? All right. Alrighty, babes, let's head upstairs and get the blood of the innocent.
Nice. I just wasn't expecting that, but it kind of makes sense on theme for Halloween.
There you go. Yes. My mother used to say that not one raindrop ever thought it caused the flood. I now know what she meant by that. Never bring a spork to a gunfight.
Okay, great. All really interesting, like vaguely there, like my files are like going, oh, what the hell is this?
I wanted to do one still within the theme, but almost all of the lines that this character utters are like filled with profanity.
Oh, right.
And so I didn't want to get us demonetized right from the very beginning by YouTube. Nice. Yeah. So there you go. Let us know in the comments. Give a little bit of space so that everybody has the opportunity to guess. Ruben, you have a question this week, I know.
I do, but it's not my question. It's one of your family members. So I'm going to let you ask it. Yeah, I thought it was great, but I don't want to get it wrong.
Well, I'm not sure you can get it wrong, but no. So we were having dinner. My daughter-in-law, I don't remember. We were talking, okay, stream of consciousness. We were talking about pineapple because we were at dinner and one of, I think it was my wife, got this teriyaki chicken sandwich that had grilled pineapple on it.
Interesting.
So my youngest was like, "Oh," and starts talking about how he makes sandwiches and how he grills the pineapple and everything, and just going back and forth. And it gets all detailed. And I don't like pineapple, and because it messes with my mouth.
Okay.
And so I was like, well, why not just do banana? And which led us into, is the banana shell called a peel all the time, or only once it has actually been peeled?
So this is, again, interesting. I think I only know as the banana peel from American TV, because we call it banana skin.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, see, that's even more interesting then, because which I think is creepier.
Oh, yeah. 100%.
I mean, that's because that implies, even though it isn't a live thing because it was growing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Remember on Warm Bodies, where he's narrating and he's telling all the different things, and the bonies, they're like how they start out and they're scratching and everything, and it just peels off the skin. And he's like, no, don't, you're making that worse. Don't. Okay,
that's not good.
Oh, so, oh gosh, that's. I mean, yeah, no, okay. Skin.
All right, so let us know in the comments what you would class it like when it's on and when it's off, I guess.
Well, is it always a peel or skin, or is it? Do you deglove the?
Do you eat the banana with the skin on? Are you one of those few people that do?
I don't think the shell is good for you.
In which case, I think you're probably an alien. Have you ever seen K-Pax?
Yes, long time ago.
Because I always remember that scene, where he eats the banana,
he just eat the
skin on. Yeah.
See, I don't remember that. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, even monkeys that are characteristically tied to eating bananas, you know what I mean? Like the animal that we always think of, they peel it too. They take it off and shuck it or whatever. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a different thing. Anyway, enough nonsense.
Okay.
Enough nonsense. Okay.
What's on your shirt, Chris?
Oh, it's The Sound of Letting Go from All Time Low. Last week, my youngest and I went into San Francisco to see the pop punk band. And
Nice.
There were two other openers. One of them, Lauren... I'll have to look it up. She was outstanding. It's like she's a like Gwen Stefani and what did I say? Something else. Like this mixture. She's British. She's from the UK.
Okay.
And which she came out and it was just like it was a little bit of a rough start. She's just a brand new artist. And then she found her groove really quickly, and holy crap, she was fun. I mean, she kind of raps a little bit. She sings. It's pop punk. Also, it was so good.
Nice. Definitely send me when you find out.
I will. Yeah. I actually, let me look it up right now just so I can.
Okay. Well, while you're doing that, I'll talk about music as well. There's an artist on YouTube called Ren. He just released his second album called Sick Boy, which is BOI. And basically, it's his journey from autoimmune disease that he's dealing with in his life and the loss of like a best friend who killed himself. And it's this all in his album. But the unique thing about Ren is that he hasn't gone with a label. He's all produced and created himself, and he's his fellow friends, and so he hasn't signed up with anybody. He's just promoting via YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all that. And yesterday there was a new Rick Astley album that was going into the charts for some reason, which was coming in at #1, but Sick Boy took the place for his new album, just came in at #1 in the UK charts as an album, which is really unique for somebody that hasn't been signed that refuses to be signed. There's dealing with autoimmune disease. He's jumping to Canada and back, where he's having like specialized treatment.
Mm-hmm.
And then dealing with like his friend and stuff. Then really kind of promoting, talking about depression and things for young men. I tell you what, though, the music is incredible because it's lyrical story. So he will rap and use all sorts of music mechanics to tell a story. And often he will do like this inner monologue of like your deeper, darker side or your demon side. So you'll be like fighting with himself. Like, oh, I should do this. My music's doing really well. And then you'll be like, no, who cares about you? You're being self, So it's like this battle of minds. And it's just so powerful. When I was going through a darker time a few months ago, I started listening to his music. And it was just like exactly what I needed, because it's nice to know that you're not alone in that sort of thing. And it just hit the nail on the head. So I've ordered myself the vinyl of his that's coming, so I can have that on record. But yeah, I highly recommend it. It's not happy music, but it's real music. So I would like maybe have a mixture of other stuff in there. Incredibly performed, very talented. But yeah, I was so happy for Ren.
Sweet. Okay, I found it. Her name is Lauren Hibbard, but her first name is not spelled how you would think. It's like Laura, Lauran, Lauren, and then Hibbard, Hibberd. Up and coming, she was a lot of fun, but all time low. They put on just a spectacular show, from visuals, music, just a lot know. And so,
nice. Oh, I love finding new music like that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
Actually, in the comments, why don't you let us know who are your favorite? Yeah, right now. Who are your favorite artists that you've just come across that's maybe new to you, sharing the love for the world of music? Because that's something we haven't talked too much about on, which is definitely entertainment, and what you can do with music now is so cool. So maybe you've come across an artist that you just think is phenomenal. Let's give each other some lists in the comments. That'd be really cool to find some new music that way.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I am wearing Electric Pikachu, which is a hybrid of an anime, a demon slayer, I think, and so it's Pikachu with this. The character in the anime, he is super powerful when he's asleep because he's got narcolepsy, which is just genius. I love it so much. Yeah.
That seems kind of useless.
Yeah, so he's like, come on, please sleep. They really need you right now. Yeah. Anyway, let's jump into the best thing we watched this week.
Cool.
I think I'm going to have a lot more than you this week, so I'm going to start, if that's okay.
Perfect.
I'm going to do my digital release reviews, because what happens in the UK, at least, is there'll be these big titles, and they all seem to have a very close release date. And then occasionally the studios will send us either like digital formats or physical copies, and they're like, can you talk about it? And I will only talk about it if I really enjoy the film, because I'm not just going to talk about stuff for the sake of it. However, on Monday, Barbie comes out on 4K. Yeah. And I mean, Barbie's awesome anyway. I've seen it a couple of times. We're going to watch it again tonight. Because our mother-in-law is over from New Zealand, and I'm looking forward to, because she's in her 70s, early 70s. I'm interested to see that demographic of, because my wife, she had a very different experience to me watching the film. I loved it, but her perspective of talking about the different Barbies that she used to play with. So it's very interesting coming from different perspectives of the worlds of Barbie. What's great is about it, there's 6 different special feature presentations. And one is the making of, one is walking into Barbie land. So they literally take you into like Barbie's room, and they show you like how the plastic works. One of the most ridiculous things I saw was when Ken is sliding down the slide, he had to be hooked in. I was just like, what? The safety is so over the top, because it's just the slide of him going around, but he's literally strapped in. It's like, what? I laughed so hard. I was like, come on. I mean, there must be a reason for it, but I thought it was really, really funny.
As children born in the 70s, who then slid down like metal slides that had been baking in the sun all
Baking
day.
in the sun,
we had those
losing
spinny
skin.
things. Yeah, oh yeah. We had those spinny things where it was the goal to see how far you could throw your friends off of it because of you spinning it so fast.
Yeah. Yeah, so I thought that was hilarious. But there's a number of other special features as well that they go into. One particular one, my favorite, where they show how they made the Ken song and how the idea, because they had the Ken song, but then they had this idea of doing the battle sequence. I'm just Ken. Mm-hmm. And so they had to make it much longer, the Ken song, so they already had it. And what was interesting to me, just like a little bits of information that you find out when they're talking about how they made it, is that the slow-mo sequence, when they're, the two Kens, two sides of the Kens are clashing and it's all slow-mo and it's just chaos everywhere. Those are actors, all of them, everybody, are actually acting in slow-mo. They haven't slowed it down.
Oh my gosh, that's awesome.
Makes it even better. And then the transitioning to the dream sequence where they're all dancing, that whole thing, they had 1 day to film. So they had to get the moves right, the dancing right, and they all nailed it in 1 day and got it and cut it. So that's why I love special features of this stuff. So it's in 4K, you get a nice slipcase. I've put it somewhere. I was just like, yeah, this is awesome. It's definitely one you want to have to own. I probably will put on Barbie, once a year or maybe once every 2 years, just kind of going back to, I just want to watch the song on loop, but there are moments in it that really resonate and are really funny.
Did you
carry on? Yeah.
Did you see on there was some things going around on social media where it was being reported that the studios didn't actually want Ken's song, like Greta Gerwig had to fight for it? Really? Yeah.
That would have changed the whole perception of the film totally. Then the people moaning about the film, saying it's all about hating on men sort of thing, would have been justified.
Exactly.
Yeah, interesting and horrible. Come on, man.
The studio execs, you just need to sign the checks and shut up.
Yeah, let the creators do their thing, man.
Yeah, and speaking of that, the SAG-AFTRA strike is still going on because the studios refuse to pay their actors.
Yep, I've seen just so many threads on X this week about like just what's going on, and because the one is kind of dealt with, it's kind of gone into the background. Yeah. And I think that's wrong, because now we know that they're just going to try and pull the wool over our eyes, which is why I'm glad they've been very loud about it. Yeah,
absolutely. So as your reminder, just support the actors.
Yeah.
On the Actors Guild there, because not cool.
Second one that's coming out on Monday. This may be out for you already, but it's coming out here on Monday on Blu-ray.
I love that movie so much.
And it's one that I can't bring myself to watch with my mother-in-law for many reasons.
That's probably a good thing.
This is one of the raunchiest comedies from the same minds of Hangover. But the casting and the special features and the Blu-ray, there's a bunch. Like, if you thought Barbie was good, there is a lot. A Grand Adventure, Making Joyride, Adele Lim, director, A Siren Call to Hollywood, A Place of Joy. R is for representation, not R-rated.
Nice.
Yeah, it's really good. Never Too Much, a comedic love fest, WAP Sing-Along, WAP solo cast choreography. That's sing along from WAP. That's worth owning this alone for.
Just alone, yeah.
Like, okay, you had me. So I watched some of the special features, and man, I was just like, yeah, these guys are so good at what they do. I'm definitely going to give it a go again, because when I watched it originally, I think I was in the mood and didn't appreciate it for what it was. But often is the case with me when I watch the special features. I appreciate the film so much more, and then I go back and watch it and go, yeah, this is excellent. What am I talking about? So, gonna do that. And then the third one I don't have a physical copy for, unfortunately, on Monday. Or if you own a PS5 and you have Sony, their new cinema released section, because they've just started this new Sony thing, you can now go buy Gran Turismo on digital on there, which is $13.99. I think you guys might have had it for a couple of weeks already. I don't know, but I got to watch it. Finally, Neil Blomkamp is like one of my favorite directors ever. And I think when it started, I wasn't sure. I was like, I'm not sure this is working. But man alive, there's a moment that clicks, that's emotional, like a gut punch. And I was like, oh, I'm invested now. And from that point on, I was like, this is great. Very interesting on the special features. If you find out how they made the filming, because they actually used those cars, those supercars, and because the stunt driver who is the actual guy. Yeah. So they had a very special camera. There's only one camera available now that can actually shoot through the canopy of the cars because of that special lens that they have the cars for. Like if they crash and break, you need to be able to see through, but also not kill you when it breaks. So there's only one camera in existence at the moment that can actually film it. And that was like the most thing they could just talk about is like how amazing this camera is, which is quite funny. Seeing every like cast members, the director, the producer, they were just like, this camera's amazing. I was like, are you guys getting sponsored by this camera?
If we talk about it enough, they'll make more.
Yeah. But the film, I was so surprised at how much heart it had. And I think that came down to the simple premise of the story. The father and son not seeing eye to eye what he wants. You know, my son, my eldest Samuel, used to play for hours and hours stuff like Destiny. And he got so good, like professionally. And I think there was a point where he could go and like try and do it for an esport, but of course it didn't get as popular as Halo or something. So but I really I resonated with the story. I was like, yeah, that's very real. And then to find out it's a true story, and one of the greatest things about the movie is, apart from being emotionally resonant and the filming being immaculate, I think when you get to those credit moments, they're showing you like the actual the actual drivers. They're showing you like those moments at the end which just show how true to the story it was. Obviously embellished somewhat, but like
sure,
what they could do and how they did it and why they're telling the story. I think for all gamers out there and parents, you kind of need to shut up now, because look what's possible. They love it enough. How many times have you had or heard the conversation of yes, that's nice, but you need a degree or something, a trade to fall back on, right? Yeah, it's a real conversation. When you're a parent, you're like, yeah. But also, you as a parent, you want your kids to follow their dreams as well.
Well, and the whole world too it's within a new economy, right? That it's not. There are no more like our grandparents had, where they get one job, they retire from that and have their pension for that. That barely ever exists anymore. I mean, and
so often people have, or they're trying so many things, or have 6 different businesses, and you know, everybody's an entrepreneur of some kind.
Yeah, I remember my oldest was doing working at a Comic-Con locally, and they did Comic-Cons throughout the country, and it was at he was in school, and you know, but the opportunity, they were discussing on whether or not they were going to take some members from the team in our town, hire them to travel throughout, you know. And so I remember us having a discussion, because he had a blast, and I mean, he was like a super good manager, and so he was working with a lot of the artists to transport them, to make sure that they had what they needed, you know, just doing really well and keeping the like things on time and all that. Regardless, we had a big discussion, because it's like, well, if they offer you this job, I mean, yeah, you're in school, you know, you're pursuing this, but you're good at this also, and so are you going to get another opportunity like this? You know what? Screw it. If they offer it to you and it is something that you want to do, you know, because you get to travel some, you get to see all these things, you get to know these artists, these actors and everything even better, then do it. You know, we'll figure out school. You can come back and go to school. That has nothing to do with it. Unfortunately, the Comic-Con organization that was putting it, it's not actually Comic-Con, but it was, you know, one of those conventions. They decided to just hire out locals in each city, which I mean, I understand to one degree, but also you have to then train each person every single time versus just grabbing somebody and
someone that knows already. Yeah, surely that's more beneficial. Anyway, yeah. So that would have been perfect, but that's the idea around that balance of allowing your kids to pursue their dreams, but also be equipped for life.
Yes.
Okay, so what is on the best thing you watched this week?
Know You Are Loved. That's not the title of it.
Oh, thanks, man.
Yeah, well, hey, which actually is probably not the best thing to say because of what we find out throughout the series. But it's Netflix's limited series, Bodies. It shares similarities with Dark, which it's not nearly as good as Dark. It's not nearly as complex. I think it's more straightforward. But there are some head-scratching moments in this because we have 4 different time periods. Yeah, 4 different time periods where a dead body appears just out of nowhere in an alleyway. Except the catch is, it's the same alleyway in each of the years, which are separated by decades. And it's same body, same alleyway, same wounds,
tattoo,
everything. And so that becomes then this big mystery of how is that possible?
Yeah.
And then we watch the mystery play out in each of the timelines because they have to figure out just the mystery within their own because they don't know it's connected to other times. And then revelations happen. And that's when it just starts to get kind of crazy. And you're like, wait. Okay, wait a minute. And we're introduced to certain characters and they have decisions that they make or motivations that influence in ways that are somewhat unexpected for a lot. And then, some of them I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Because it was like, oh, when you put that together, especially as you get towards the last 2 episodes where everything is starting to really culminate and, all of those pieces now are falling in. I think you could have, we've been given a lot of the answers prior to that, but this is where we watch them play out and it starts to grow in intensity and urgency and just like this momentum, like, oh, going. For me, it was a satisfying ending. I know that you had said in your review,
no,
you didn't like the last
minutes,
frames,
literally last minute. Yeah.
I like it because of the ambiguity that it serves, because it answers a specific part within in the lore. In the rules,
maybe
that they have
you understood it more than we did, because when we sat there and we watched it and we got to that last minute, we went, how? That doesn't make sense. That doesn't follow the rules that you've already established. And also, who the hell is giving you the tattoos? Why is going through time giving you tattoos? That doesn't make sense.
Well, do you see the? So they have this this like, it looks like a Roman numeral 3 with a slash through it. So it's like, it's not quite 5 because there's not 5 lines. But anyway, it's like a Roman numeral 5 if you just erased one of the vertical lines. Well, if you notice in the and this isn't a spoiler because it is about the whole series is about time travel and just time thing.
It makes sense,
when the singularity, whatever you want to call that, goes, you see the design in it.
What?
Oh yeah, it's clear. No. It's like there's pink.
I had
going
this on a projector.
Well, then maybe you should watch it on a TV. I don't know. Yeah, no, and that's what it did. It was a process of going.
Why does it imprint on your
wrist? I don't.
Is it sentient?
No, I think it was just. It's as a result. It just appears as going because you went through this. I don't buy that.
Because why did it choose the side of your arm, like just there? Why not on the back of your head, like a barcode on your forehead?
I think it could have. They just chose that because it makes it easier when a body is laying
to
instantly see it versus.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like cinematically, for sure. Yeah, I
exactly.
Get it.
Yeah,
why it's there. There were moments like that. Like, well, why does one person go through time a number of times and others don't? How can somebody go one small amount of time and the others not? Like, there are moments that I was just like, if I thought about it too long, for me, I think I could pull it apart. Whereas with Dark, once I'd seen all 3 seasons, I was like, yeah, that is so well connected that I get how each piece fits in here. This one, I feel like I need another watch to maybe see if they do.
There was the thing for me is, how do they choose which time? You know what I mean? Because there was no dials that we saw, because it was something that just existed that somebody figured out.
Yeah.
And in part of that,
it looked like when she jumped, you would because of something that happened, one person was in multiple times, and then one person would go, but that doesn't mean that same thing was happening to them. So how were they able then to travel again, if that makes sense? Like, that one person that was in a past timeline shouldn't have been able to travel forward into another timeline with that same body.
I don't think anybody ever traveled forward, though.
Okay, well, we're getting to spoiler territory, so we'll talk about it off.
Yeah. Okay. Well, anyway, it's 8 episodes. There are some. I think that the series could have been an episode shorter.
Yeah,
because there were a lot of repetitious moments.
100%. Yeah, I think it could have been 6. It's the Netflix 6 works good for pacing, and I feel like they showed us too many scenes repeatedly, like the same thing again. Not only did they just do that in episode 7, they did a little bit in episode 8, and I think it was 5. We got they were showing us from another person's perspective, seeing the same moment, sort of thing. But I don't think we always knew it. That almost felt like a bit of spoon feeding.
Yes, I did I liked in episode 7. Even though it was repetitious and it was a lot of what we had already witnessed, I liked seeing how it set up more of the motivations and more of the scheming that went on.
I mean, I guess when you look at it, there's also differences because things are changing. And so even though you're looking at it from a different perspective, there were slight changes or how it had affected those moments. So it does kind of make sense. I get it. It just did feel drawn out.
Yeah, there was a part of one of the relationships that it didn't add anything to the story, because the relationship was already established, and so it was just this drawn out scene just because. Yeah, and there were moments throughout a lot of these where it's just like, I don't think you need that, because we already understand. And we've been shown, you've adequately given us, the emotional ties there. So
it is based on a graphic novel, and I went scouring the internet to see people talking about the graphic novel compared to the Netflix series. And what's interesting is this adaptation is not more confusing. The graphic novel was more confusing, and the ending is even more ambiguous. Yeah, ambiguous. Yeah, ambiguous.
Depends on where you put the emphasis of the syllable. That's interesting, because that's not typically the case.
No. So normally, all right.
Well, okay. It makes me more happy then that I've watched the series and not the.
I agree, and I was like, oh, okay, fair enough. I mean, I sound like I'm coming down really hard in it, but visually, it's spectacular. Like, it looks so good. Every time, every set that they had looks the same in the street, but so visually accurate. Makes you it places you in that zone, and then you get the 4 main protagonists that act. Acting there, as in English would say, you're acting your tits off, which is exactly. Very, very great monologues. It makes you think. Is a little bit preachy, but not so much so that you feel like you're getting slapped in the face. It just has, remember that society is going this way, and everybody will be watching this like, yeah, totally see that happening. The future, I wasn't quite sold on. I don't think it would be that nice and neat and clean. Also, our main character from the future,
Shira Haas.
Yeah, we know little about her. I would have liked some more background story with
Agreed.
her. I really like her acting, and she was such an interesting character. So please let me know a little bit more about her mindset as why she makes certain decisions first on. Because I was like, really? It's a little bit Demolition Man, that future.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you seen? This is a tangent because that's what we do. Have you seen Unorthodox? It's a limited series on Netflix.
Yeah.
That's Shira Haas also.
Oh, she's a great actress.
You know, she has her head shaved. Oh my gosh, it was such a
depressing,
phenomenal.
series.
Yes, but yes, both. Yes. I liked in Bodies how the grain at the earliest time was very, very noticeable.
Almost like film reel.
Yeah, and it slowly got less and less as we went to the future to when we're in 2053 timeline, it's pretty much non-existent, looking more digital than anything. I just thought, you know what, this is not something that everybody's going to notice, but for me it was like, oh, that's a really great
cool.
attention to detail right there. Yeah.
The guy who obviously plays the bad guy, I thought he acted really well. And if you think about it, he had to play that bad guy in different times.
Yeah.
And I just thought he did so well and even the motivation behind it. Like, I guess that's where the emotion comes into the story. I think that works really well. When you find out it's not necessarily right, but you understand why the character's so broken, which is a great way for you to be on board with what's happening. Yeah, really interesting. One of the other reasons I don't like the ambiguity ending is this is a limited series, and I don't want that to leave a door open for a second season.
Oh, yeah. No, for me, it didn't because of one of the rules that was set up initially.
Right. Okay.
That it was just something that occurred. And we can talk. We'll talk about more.
We'll talk about
so
that.
That we don't, so that we don't give away spoilers there.
Yeah.
But
definitely worth a one-time watch. But I had my frustrations with it.
Sure. Yeah. I don't think I would go back to this one, even though I really enjoyed it. Like Dark, I have begun to rewatch it.
All right.
Because it is the greatest show ever made. So,
interestingly enough, I had someone in the comments who is a German saying Dark isn't very good and this is way better than Dark. And I was like, what?
I'm sorry. No.
No.
I disagree.
No way, no how.
Yeah, no, exactly. All right. So what's next on your list?
Okay, so this is an interesting one. I really enjoyed it. It's only 6 episodes. It's 25 minutes apiece. It's an animated series called Captain Laserhawk, a Blood Dragon Remix.
What the heck? That is a lot of words.
So this is a Ubisoft collaboration with Netflix, animating a story. Yeah, how do I explain this? Okay, so the creator, Shankar, he's very well known, and he either does great hits or misses. I think he did Castlevania. I'm not sure if that's him. But so this one, he created this world where almost all the IPs of Ubisoft's characters are in the same world. It's in a Blood Dragon. We're talking Rayman, Assassin's Creed, a bunch of others that I don't want to spoil because that's half the fun, figuring out who's in it. If you watch the trailer, you'll blow your mind. Seeing Rayman being a news anchor, but also lose his shit and become like the darkest character in the series is one of the best things that I didn't know I needed to see. One of the comments I got on my review was, typical. This is how we see Rayman, but they're never going to give us a new game, are they? Really salty characters. So here's the thing. The animation is fun. The character of Laserhawk, you're totally with. Don't love your heroes, though, in this series, because, you don't know who's going to make it. It's also a massive cliffhanger. There's the 6 episodes. Yeah, it's like, The story's just starting, which is always iffy for us anyway. So animation, voice work, storyline, all of that, phenomenal. Here's the caveat. It's an absolute ripoff of Suicide Squad. And, you know, with the down to they're taking guys are the bad guys, putting them together in the government team, even so much to if they try to escape, their heads explode because they have a bomb in their head. That's how much this is copied from Suicide Squad. And this is meant to be like an original work. Like, no, it's not. You've just obviously copied. Like, that's so close to Suicide Squad, it can't not be a copy.
Yeah, well, and the bomb inside the head or the body, that's taken from Escape from New York.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, but to have all the bad guys and everything, I mean, that is wow. But did that ruin the enjoyment of the show, even though it wasn't the original idea?
No,
okay.
Because one of the main characters is an Assassin's Creed character who is a frog. He's a French assassin frog.
Like literally ribbit?
Literally ribbit, but he speaks and he's really like serious, and he's the one that's trying to keep the group together. And now I really want that in a game. Like, seriously, Ubisoft, do that game. I would buy that straight away.
Well, and that's why I think a lot of, like Super Smash Bros. is so popular, because you have that mashup of characters that you can interact with.
Every character you actually want to get to use.
That would be fun. Yeah. Oh.
There are IPs that they use as main characters in this that you probably never saw coming. In ways that I never thought they could do. And I was like, this is brilliant.
Nice.
So I think the fun comes from, if you're a gamer and you love Ubisoft titles. For me, Ubisoft's titles haven't been great the last few. I recently played Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I immediately traded that in after like playing for 5 hours for Spider-Man 2, which I'm now going through. So I'll probably be talking about that next week, I imagine. But seeing them all together is like, it's like an acid dream. It's nice. Crazy. It's cyberpunk, but you kind of annoyingly are rooting for the characters. And I say annoyingly because I mentioned, don't be too attached.
Gotcha. Did you say what this is on?
I'm sorry. It's a Netflix. Yeah, Netflix and Ubisoft collaboration. So
okay. Yeah, you may have already said it. I
think I did,
couldn't remember.
I often forget because I'm old. So.
Dude, though, that sounds like a lot of fun. Just
is, and it's like adult, so it's not lots of gore, lots of swearing. Or most of the Ubisoft games are 18. So
okay, nice, outstanding, fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
Okay. My next one is a series that I believe in the past they have dropped all at once, and this time they're doing 2 episodes a week, which I don't really understand. I think you only got 2 of the episodes, which is just that's frustrating.
Like, I'm not reviewing this.
Yeah, no doubt. Well, this is Prime Video's Upload, season 3. I stumbled upon this in after season 1 had come out, I think. That it was one of those where we were, flipping through not through channels, but through our, the plethora of streaming services that we subscribe to, and just landed on this. It was like, what is this? I don't know. It looks kind of stupid. Okay, well, let's just give it a try. Whatever.
The thumbnail wasn't great.
No, and then I couldn't stop watching it. That was the thing with season 1. I was like, holy crap, because you have very near future where people's consciousness when they die can be uploaded into this virtual
the butt that goes with community. That, how they do that is hilarious.
Oh, dude. Yeah. No, it just, whoa. Okay. No going back there.
Yeah.
But there's also the interwoven through this is that not everybody actually can afford to do this.
Yeah.
So some people just die. The rich and the people with means or family can
go
stay
to Palm
on.
Springs, or others can go to Johannesburg back in the 80s. Yeah.
Yeah. And so there's different levels, obviously, because you have to pay more. So it's definitely a commentary on capitalism,
For sure,
and society and stuff. But Robbie Amell is he's the main protagonist in this, and he's so endearing. Like,
you like him a lot. Yeah,
it's aggravating almost, because he's very handsome, and then he's
not fair.
So likable because he's he just comes across as this genuinely nice guy. And so Nathan, that's his character, is thrust into this uploaded scenario because of something that happens right at the very beginning of the series. And now in season 3, we've gotten more of the story context. We're diving deeper into a mystery. And
it's the bigger arc they're diving into more of.
Yeah, that first season, while that was present, it was more just getting us used to the world. And
which was fun.
Oh, yeah. They have an AI dude in this resort that is the afterlife for digital.
Who is the absolute worst.
And
he's terrible at his job.
He's terrible at all of the jobs. So that's the funny thing, because it's the same dude in all these different jobs. This season, though, they're trying to make the AI better. And so there are some classes that the AI
The classes are funny. From what I saw, like when she's trying to teach them the difference between like one word and the inflection of okay. And they're like talking to each other. Why
Number
is she,
6.
It's the same. It's the same word. Why is she talking? It's very funny.
Oh yeah. So this season goes darker, and goes more serious. It still retains a lot of the humor. And a lot of fun, but it's definitely, you can watch over the progression of the seasons how it's going from just straight outright silly with the setup to now going into the crux of the argument and really what the complications are and the ramifications and how are they going to solve that. I thought this was going to be the last season. It really felt like that.
Oh, is it not? I thought it was. Okay.
No, because holy crap.
Big cliffhanger. God damn it.
Oh, dude, you're like, whoa. No. I mean, I was like, especially because I thought it was going to wrap up. That was the other thing that I kind of set myself up for even more of a surprise.
See, what's worrying is that the cast themselves was so happy when they got to announce that they had been picked up for season 3.
Yeah.
They did a whole bunch, which means they didn't know if they were coming back for season 3.
And I think it was supposed to come out in February.
Yeah, it was. Way long ago.
And now because of the SAG-AFTRA, strike, because the studios aren't paying their actors, this will be delayed. Even though the writers are back and they can continue writing the shows, no production is going to be happening.
There should be no excuse then for tight, good storyline, because they have extra time. They can go over it and over it. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm looking forward to season 4. I really like the world. I some of the characters even that I didn't like at the beginning or that I found very annoying have drastically grown on me.
Oh yeah, like the best friend. He's come in leaps and bounds. I really like his character. Even the ex-girlfriend has...
Ingrid is... This season, I tell you what, we watch such a massive character growth arc in this. That it is wonderful because she's now a character. She's still flawed and she's still working through her crap, but she is like on a trajectory where she's trying to make different and better decisions. And it just makes me go, oh, I like you a lot. You are
at the first you were like, you're the worst.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so it's been earned. That's the thing, that this character appreciation has been earned across the series. Nathan, Robbie Amell's character, we've liked from the very get-go. He's just built that way and written that way, but her, not so much. So
there was a character that died, I'm not going to mention, that I was rooting for to die. Really disliked this character and died in the best way. Yeah.
Oh, in in this current season?
Yeah. First 2 episodes of season 3. I was like, woo!
I think it may be the person I'm thinking of too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, there were. Yeah. Okay. Nice.
Nice.
What's next?
Let me consult the oracle.
That's your magic 8-ball.
Yeah. This is an interesting one. I did not expect to be speaking about this, actually. Old Dads is a new Netflix movie that dropped from director and writer Bill Barr, actor who's in it, and we have a couple of other comedians. And the reason why I didn't expect to be speaking about this is because you never know whether comedians can do the transition from doing stand-up comedy to actually producing something that's going to be emotional. It can just be a platform or a movie for you to do your stand-up comedy bits. And it totally is that in here. But because there's enough story that you can get behind, you actually end up genuinely enjoying. And it's interesting because the first half of the movie is definitely catered towards middle-aged white guys who understand the 80s and now have had to live through the 90s, 2000, 2010 to 20s, and have not come to grips with their anger of how things are and how stupid things are. And it shines a light of how stupid things are in the world today. I was talking to you about being off a person on an electric scooter in the middle of the road, swerving left and right, no helmet, listening to music. And both you and I were like, yeah, well, that's extra points, right?
50 points, 100 if you can make them fly as you hit them from behind.
Unfortunately, most of the things that irk me in my age is to do with a younger demographic of entitled people, entitled young people who think because they come in, they understand life to be a certain way, and anytime anything's hard, they leave. Or there's this understanding of how hard life can be or what life is. And it shines a light on moments like that, like a young kid, let's say let's say 8 years old, sees a pregnant woman who's like 8-9 months, almost full term, runs up to the mother, smacks her on the belly like really hard. And I'm like, what the hell? Like that, that you just hit another person in the face, essentially. And like, thankfully, there's a little bit of like padding. And the mother goes, no, don't do that. And then the mother of the child goes, you got to let my child be who he is emotionally. Don't you correct my child. This is what he's experiencing right now. That world, the sort of modern hippie, the people, I don't want to say Karens, because I know lots of good Karens, but do you understand what I'm saying, Chris?
I do understand. Yeah. I'm glad that they're shining the light on, like, because that, like, the child, it's not necessarily their fault that they're the a-hole. It's most likely because they have trash shit. Excuse me. No, I'm going to say the word, but I want to get it correct, right? Because I love it from Reservation Dogs. Shit-ass parents,
right?
Who do not parent their children, who do not teach them appropriate ways to interact with the world around them. You know what I mean? It's like getting mad at a dog who attacks somebody because their owner is absolute trash. The dog is not a bad dog. It's the person who's a bad person who then made the dog behave in this way. Mm-hmm. I haven't watched this, but do they also address the entitlement and the attitude of the older generation?
Yeah, so this is where the movie flips itself on its head, and these three guys, which is basically the three best friends, who are late 40s, early 50s, are becoming dads once, and so it's like they're going to be dads, obviously, and they're trying to come to terms with what that means, bringing a child up, or they are dads already, bringing a child up into this world. And so they, coming from the 80s and 90s, or 70s even, you have things that are good that you bring with you, but you also have a lot of things that are bad. Yeah. And each generation has that. And so there's this road trip where they're just shooting the shit, where they're going to go and get someone. And you have a younger guy who is within them, listening to the three guys just shoot the shit. And unfortunately, the webcam of the car is recording it, because that's what they hired a car. And so later on, you see what they were talking about, and you're just like, whoa, that is not okay. But in the context of three friends talking nonsense, you know how friends talk with each other. They do just talk nonsense. But it's interesting hearing what nonsense they talk about and how far we've come from that. So there's this balance of, actually, you can't always just be angry at everybody for how society is now. You've got to kind of grow up a little bit, change where change is needed, but also keep your sensibilities to yourself. There's a learning curve that Bill Burr's character goes through that I don't know if I've learned just yet. So he's on his lawn playing catch with his kid. He's got his baby in a sling, and he's got a glove, like a baseball glove, and he's throwing it, and they're like, yeah, and they're all out having a great day in his front lawn. And this guy on a bicycle that's obviously young, hippie, trendy young kid, you can visualize exactly the person, stops and goes, hey, do you know that's really dangerous, playing catch with a baby in your arm and sling? Your baby could get hurt. And his mouth opens, and you can see there's a string of words that are going to come out. And he goes, you're right. Thank you for bringing my attention to that. Have a great day. And the guy nods and cycles off. Now, that was the mature way to respond to that. And as the guy goes out of shot.
Your shot.
Yeah, he goes like, fucking idiot. And you're like, that is still the correct way to, because you totally understand this guy is not a parent. He has no right judging you or even mentioning how you should be parenting things. And we are so safety hazard of things that are not okay to do. I remember my two boys in the city when they were young, they were stick fighting, and they got told off for stick fighting. And like two sticks from the woods, and they go, and this woman comes up that's so dangerous. You shouldn't be allowing. How could you allow your kids to be violent and stuff? Like, this is the world we live in now. So I'm I'm like that white father dude, middle-aged. If that's me, fine. I'm going to embrace that, because I refuse to live that way. I am not that person. But at the same time, I can't put my beliefs on those people. So it really does. It shows a need for growth. It shows how you got to mature as a person and realize that the world is multifaceted. And if you're going to be angry all the time at everything like that, you're going to be angry all the time and never be happy, because there's so much of it. And the the millennial generation, unfortunately, is a big part of that. But there's so much in the 80s that stuff we said, how we treated women, that's a big one. Slavery, that's still rife. A discrimination of color, massive thing. Sexual orientation, all of that stuff that we brought that wasn't healthy. That's a thing that's heading somewhat, still going on, but somewhat in the right direction in places. Unfortunately, it's still massive, and we're still going backwards in other places.
I think it was like one of the first two episodes of The Changeling on Apple, where they're in the the library, the bookstore, or whatever that is, rifling through, and Keith Stanfield has his baby in a holder in the front, and some girl next to him is like, you shouldn't do that. Oh my gosh, dude, that was like, I was like,
I felt so good. I felt so good after. I was like, finally.
Yeah. Are you a parent? Oh no. I'm sorry. Shut the F up. Next, please. Goodbye.
And his friend with him just cracking up laughing.
He just says it. And that was oh my gosh.
That was written from a place of pain, but also like, here you go, guys. You can have this. Yeah.
We need this. Real. Yeah.
Yeah, so real.
Yeah. Well, everybody believes that they have the right to speak into everybody else's situation and with authority. That's the thing. It's not like just, conversation, or it's a friend. It's random strangers who are like, you can't do that. I'm sorry, you're about to get punched in the throat. Walk away now. You have 2, 1. Okay.
I mean, to give an example of how they do learn, at the end, Bill Barr and his friends get on electric scooters and enjoy it. So there's like...
They find that balance where they understand why somebody would be enjoying just, free flowing, even though it's annoying for the drivers. It's like the people in the parking aisles of any place where there's parking, where people tend to just drift into the middle and walk. And you're like, I'm sorry, this is what cars are. Walk to the left or the right, because I'm going to hit you.
I saw a video of Andrew Tate this week where he parked in a disabled parking.
Did somebody beat the crap out of him?
No, they were promoting it as good. He said, well, if I go there, I know I'm going to be quick, but if you're disabled, you're not going to be quick. And I was like, holy crap, this guy is the worst human.
He needs to be erased from
Seriously.
everything.
Yeah.
Dude, and if you hold that person up as a role model or any type of wisdom, I weep for you, because he is trash.
I mean, in that same video, there was a friend that he was being interviewed with who said, oh, they know about you in Al-Qaeda and they think you're the top G. And it's I was like, oh, wow. So, and he was smiling and laughing and like, oh, really? Maybe I should go there instead of where I am.
Maybe you should.
Yeah,
maybe you should.
Please do.
Yes.
Yeah. Bye-bye. Bye-bye now. Anyway, let's move on from that nonsense. What's next on your list?
Okay, so excuse me. This fits into spooky season a little bit. It's not a horror. Okay. It's kind of a mystery. I say kind of. It's a comedy from 1980.
Holy crap.
Okay. It is Don Knotts and Tim Conway, called The Private Eyes. Have you ever seen this?
No.
Okay.
Don't think I've even heard of it.
So I own it. It's
okay.
Tim Conway and Don Knotts partnered up for several movies. And they're just ridiculous. The humor is over the top. It's very simplified. It's slapstick. It's stupid and obvious, and yet still funny. I love Apple Dumpling Gang and the Apple Dumpling Gang Rides Again. Those are they're cute movies. That's the thing too, that a lot of the time their movies that they did are very family friendly, so that you can have just a fun time. Now, this one, 1980, it really shows its age. My daughter-in-law had never seen it.
Right.
It had been a long time since we had watched it, even as a family. It's been well over 10 years.
Is it a sort of Scooby-Doo film?
A little bit. Yeah. It's kind of like Clue, Scooby-Doo, but not as good as Clue by any means.
Clue's a classic, isn't it?
Yeah.
I just saw part of the trailer where he threw the dove through the plane glass.
Yes. So there's ongoing sight gags and verbal gags that go through this.
Right.
I don't think it holds up as well as what my memory remembers seeing it as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's not something that I'm like, yes, I'm going to watch this every year, but I own it, and it's still fun. There's some nostalgia for me in there. There's a gag in this because it's a murder mystery that the Tim Conway and Don Knotts are kind of like Sherlock Holmes and Watson. That's really what they're supposed to be. Except Watson, who is Dr. Tart, is played by Tim Conway in this. He's much more of a moron. He's definitely the fool for this. But as part of each time somebody dies, there's a poem that's written. And the poems never resolve rhyming. They start out rhyming, and then they choose, what word they're going for, and then they add like 2 or 3 words
that would frustrate me so much.
It's so funny. But it's a series of ridiculousness. If you like Pink Panther, with Peter Sellers, if you liked Clue, if you like even the Apple Dumpling Gang, things like this, you know what you're getting into, because it is not serious by any means. It is stupid. I mean, I'll get, there's no getting around that. And this one didn't age as well, but it's still cute, and it's still good for like a one-time watch if you, especially from, I don't know, just especially for a family. You know what I mean? If you're looking for something like around Halloween-ish or something like that is not scary, but has a little bit of tension in there for the younger kids. I mean, there's a couple of characters and a couple of situations, that are a little bit spooky, maybe. Yeah. There's never any violence that's actually shown other than what Tim Conway and Don Knotts do to each other or encounter. I mean, even though we see all of these murders, we never actually see the murders.
Right.
And so it's, I don't know. It's one of these that you know what you're getting into once you start it, and you just kind of go with it. And as long as you can endure, it feels long though. That's the other thing. It's only 90 minutes. It does feel long. There are huge portions in this where you're like, nothing is happening. Let's cut this out. You know what I mean? And it was it's a time, you can see how it fits in the 80s with some of these movies where they just did not have as tight of editing.
Yeah, editing's different, definitely different to how it was back then. Nice. What made you go back to that and watch that? We were going through movies like that my daughter hasn't seen before, and so wanted to, like we watched, what was the movie we watched? I don't even remember what we watched recently. Like she'd never seen, and she's not seen Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet, and so we're going to watch that at some point. Okay.
And so it's just, fun things like that, just revisiting older movies. Sometimes when we get together, we're just like, oh, that sounds like fun. Let's do that or whatever. So yeah, this was one that I had pulled out independently of that she had never seen, because we were coming up into October. And so I had pulled it out in like September and just set it on top of my record player that's near the TV, so that I could it was just as a reminder, top of mind things that, okay, I need to watch this because I want to. And yeah.
Okay. Should we get into some of the spooky things we were going to talk about? Yeah. All right. Do you want to talk about Three Blind Mice now?
Not really. Sure, let's do it.
All right. I actually think I enjoyed it more than you did. Like, I preferred this one than to Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Oh, hands down. Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. Because I thought the animatronics, the first of all, the makeup and the prosthetics actually worked. The mouses, the humanoid mouses, they moved, and made the other one was just a face mask.
Yes.
Yeah, it was literally just like a costume, and that was, we were meant to believe that was like a morphed person, and which is ridiculous in itself. We have again the same actress, lookalike.
The Lindsay Lohan.
The Lindsay Lohan who smoked 20 cigars.
Yeah.
She has the gruffiest voice in the world. She could play Edna Mode from Incredibles.
Darling.
No capes. All right. I'll give a little clap to the CG mice that's in this. They weren't terrible. Like, you could see there was CG, but they weren't like absolutely awful. That's not the thing that was awful in this movie.
It was not the most awful, but I did not like those mice because they felt like they were just slapped on the top.
Yeah, I mean, they totally were. That's what they did. It was like a graphic that they like, with our editing skills, they went, on the next timeline, we're gonna zoom them and then tilt it slightly, and then just gonna right it, and then someone's just gonna scream and so what's the synopsis of this movie?
I don't even know. It's a nursery rhyme that got into the public domain, and so somebody thought, well, hey, they did it with Winnie the Pooh. Let's do other things, and so we had Mary Had a Little Lamb, which was dull,
diabolical.
That's the thing. It was stupid
right.
and
So that's
slow.
what's good about this movie. The gore and the graphic was on point for being a horror movie,
and
at
it got
least
to
this
it
time.
fast.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, they went there. Did they need to take as long to go there? No. Did it need a storyline of some sort? Probably. Because they're basically running down tunnels and the same shots were used multiple times.
I didn't understand the whole bunker thing, honestly. I don't know where that came from and how they...
I think they were in the bunker because of an experiment. That's the story. And so these guys were going for a walk and they
stumble upon it. Is that what?
Okay, so let's first of all talk about the sound effect of the mouse people. Do you remember it? Because it sounds nothing like a sound effect for a mouse would ever sound like. I guess they were trying to go for a demented human mouse person.
I don't remember. I'd have to listen to it again, but I'm not going to, because that would mean I'd have to put the movie back on.
Was there anything redeeming in this movie for you?
For me, it was the gore, the violence, it became like it dove into the horror aspect that we want from this.
Yes.
I mean, I did not expect a good story. I didn't get a good story. I didn't expect good acting. We didn't get good acting.
We didn't get that.
Yeah, I just wanted, especially coming off of Mary Had a Little Lamb, which was so slow and non-eventful through so much of it that, you know what I mean? Like it just drug on for no reason with no payoff. Whereas this, at least we got the payoff pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Could have got there faster, whatever. I didn't care about any of the characters.
No.
There's nothing.
Honestly, I cared more about the giant mice because they had been tortured. They were people. They turned into. You saw one sequence in a video sequence where they'd been forcing them basically to mutate. And I was like, oh well, okay. Whoever did this to you really sucks.
Well, and there's the story.
Right.
That's the story.
So much better, interesting story.
Yeah.
And then make it about them escaping and mutilating everybody else in the facility. We could have, and with the budget, we could have done. Honestly, we could have done better than this.
Yeah, because that was the interesting part. I mean, okay, so you get your people to this location and stuff like that. Get them there fast, and let's and even take all of that out. Just they're going on vacation, and so they go to a cabin in the woods. That fine, fair enough.
Oh yeah, I forgot about all that. Yeah,
yeah. So much exposition on intervention
there was no
and
need
stuff
for
like that.
Any of that. Yeah,
didn't add anything to the story. Just time. Yeah. So,
it's the whole story. The premise is coming back now. It's an intervention for the girl that's on drugs, and she's not on drugs, but she is on drugs. So she's not on drugs, and everybody is like, and they come to this place of all places to help her. And then the classic trope of getting rid of the mobiles, because it's got to be personal. And I was just like, wow, okay, this is absolute tosh. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't recommend seeing it, but it was better than Mary Had a Little Lamb.
It was better than Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah. Okay.
If we're ranking worst, terrible IPs that now are allowed to, like kids' stories that can be turned into anything else. Yes.
Yes, which is funny because I thought this one was going to be even worse than Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Yeah, interesting. So the three that we've seen so far, Winnie the Pooh at number 1, Three Blind Mice, and then Mary Had a Little Lamb in that order. Or Three Blind Mice, space. Mary Had a Little
Lamb.
Yeah. All the other movies that are going to be made subsequently will be better.
Dude. Well, I think they should take I don't even know what the nursery rhyme is about the Pied Piper, but they should in my head, it's imagining people putting children into pies. And so that right there, just go dark with it and just make it.
Put children in pies.
Yeah, exactly.
Need some extras?
There's a kid going down the street on a bike. Weaving in and out. Oh, goodness. Okay.
Let's talk about something good. Yeah. Let's talk about one that you chose. What did you choose, Chris?
This one, actually very surprising. Because if I had ended or stopped watching halfway through, this never would have been on any list.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, it's called The Man in the White Van. And
I saw you reviewed this. Yeah.
Yeah, it is just beginning to make festival circuit. The setup for this is intriguing.
Okay.
It is. It's brand new. I don't even think you can see it in theaters or on digital or anything yet. It's low budget. It is not a slasher. It's more of a thriller. It's not even really a horror. I mean, it's just more of a thriller. The premise is in the late 70s, mid 70s, a white van starts showing up and people start going missing.
Well,
and this one girl notices that the white van is stalking her. And it leads to just some unsettling and some freaky scenarios for her, terrifying for her. We're also shown in a going backwards in years, like we start out in like 78 or 79, I think, and we watch now a white van and people being abducted and murdered. And so it's counting back while we're also going forward. Now, so the first part of the movie is not good. It has storytelling issues. It has pacing issues. You don't know why you want the characters. You don't really like the characters. It then though becomes tense. Like there's actually urgency and like, ooh, this has something to it. You have to sit through half of it to get to the rest of it, but it ends with some like, wow, that held some peril, some tension, some just, fear in there, especially because we know, I mean, this is where the whole thing of, beware of, no windowed vans driving around,
tinted vans.
Yeah, and so this is, I mean, it is every parent's nightmare, especially in the late 70s, early 80s, where it was like, everybody checked all their candies at Halloween for razor blades and drugs.
Oh yeah.
And the I've seen the meme recently is nobody likes your kid enough to give them free drugs, which is absolutely true. So this is not the best movie. This is not like, this wouldn't go under the best thing I watched this week, but because we're focusing on something that's more Halloween-y, it has that eeriness to it. And because the last half of the movie is so much better than the first half, and it brings about some tension and darkness to it that you're like, ooh, okay, I actually feel this now. It works. And I like too, because the main character in this is set up right from the get-go through her own actions as an unreliable narrator. She over-exaggerates things or just makes things up. And so her family has now been conditioned to not believe what she says.
Right.
So when something real is happening, that's, you know what I mean? It's nobody believes her. So, yeah.
Nice. The cast is really interesting.
Yes.
Madison Wolfe, who's Annie, she was the young girl in I Kill Giants.
Oh, was she really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Breck Basinger. I don't know if she's related to Kim Basinger, but
I don't think she is. I tried to.
She is Stargirl, or was Stargirl in the TV series Stargirl. So for both seasons of that, yeah.
Biggest name out of the group.
Sean Astin, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, he might have been in a tiny trilogy. Ali Larter, you'll recognize. Yeah, there's a bunch of names in here that I was like, oh, I know these people, which is interesting.
Yeah, yeah. It was surprising. I mean, it's not one to rush right out in and, to... Excuse me while I go get my car and, because that's just a kid on a bike, that he's modified. This isn't something that I would rush right out to see. But if you get the opportunity, if it hits streaming or it's, on sale on VOD, then it's worth a watch. If going in, the first half of it is not good.
Yeah. So how many people do you think are going to tap out then in the first half?
I think if you don't know, a lot. It takes some endurance to get through that beginning, and some of the acting is cheesy, the writing is kind of all over the place, and then when it finds its groove, it works. So yeah.
Well, that's good. Yeah. Okay. Can we move on?
Yes, let's. What was yours?
So I think this is going to be my Hereditary.
Ooh.
Like where you love Hereditary, and that's I've just have the balls to watch. I just need to have the balls to watch it again. I spoke briefly to you about it. I'd never seen it before. It's been on my 1-2 watch list, but I needed to be brave enough to watch it. But The Empty Man, that came out in 2020. On the trail of a missing girl, an ex-cop, was actually an ex-detective, comes across a secret group attempting to summon a terrifying supernatural entity. First of all, why? But also, I will never blow into a bottle again, ever. This movie messed with my head so much because there's so much in it. You're like, oh, I need to go back and kind of figure out, did I see that correctly? Did I, the story, it centers on a... Okay, well, first of all, the movie I thought what it was is not what the movie is. And that's the best kind of non-spoiler I can do, because I don't want... Anybody that hasn't seen this, I don't want to talk about it because that will totally ruin it. So for the chunk of the movie that it is the movie where this detective is trying to find this young girl who lives next door to him, who did live next to him. We're established as to she's acting a bit weird, she's speaking a bit weird, and then she's gone. And then we're introduced to a cult-like people. But visually, this film is just damn creepy. Sound effects wise, very, very creepy. There's just one moment in the film with a sound effect that I think spoils. It gives too much away. There's this thing that I saw someone do in a car with a sound effect, and I was like, oh, I think it's this. But it's also a sort of ambiguity ending. And there's a lot of ending explains. Once you've seen it for the first time years ago, just go and see what people... There's this bunch of theories as to when, as to how, as to if. I don't know how to explain. I don't know how to review this film. It's really tricky.
There was an image that is shown, and I think it may be shown in like a trailer or stills or whatever, but it's inside of a cave.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Not right at all. Gotta go.
When this curse or whatever starts affecting people in whatever way, there's this thing that they do where they speak, but they're not speaking, and they're like really fast. Dude, the hairs on the back of my neck when they do it, and they're like in your face. They use like a technique that in Doctor Who with the angels, where you do the light and you switch it off, and you do the light, and they're like whoop whoop whoop, and I'm like, F you.
Gotta go. Why am I turning off the light? Turning off the light.
I laughed out loud. There's actually a moment where there's a bunch of people that are looking creepy. Guy takes a step back. They take a step with him. Guy takes a step back. they take a step with him, and he goes, nope. And he just legs it. And I was like, finally. Like, why do so many others that just stay around? That's not an area where you need to be right now. That's not indicative to your health. Oh my gosh. I don't think I've been that scared, but that intrigued with a story for a long time. It really has an atmosphere about it. There's a presence to this film that will stay with you and linger, because it's mind melding, and there's a lot of it shows, but it also doesn't show. It's like it shows, but it's like messing with your mind, as you know, playing with the shadows, what is in the distance, using sound that way to kind of really get into under your skin. Having people just act weird and say things that are just not right. There's so much that just keeps building up to it. I don't know if you've ever seen, a few years ago, there was this, I think they were Hebrew men. Bunch of Hebrew men running around a circle, and they were all chanting, "Hey, you're doing really," and they run. It's like almost becoming in a trance. And it's one of the creepiest things I've seen. You can definitely type it up on YouTube. You'll find it. They're singing something, and it's like a trance worship
real
song
life?
or something. Yeah, real life. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, real life. There's a moment in this film where it does this similar thing, and it has to be one of the most creepiest visuals I've ever seen. Like, there's so many times I was like, I've never seen that in a horror movie. Like, just brilliant. I don't know how I missed this. Like, I knew of it, but I didn't realize like what type of film it was and how good it actually was. So.
Oh yeah, I had seen that Chris Stuckman had done a review on it, and I didn't watch his review, but I looked up the movie, and it was playing on like Max or something, or HBO at that time, HBO Max or whatever, and so we sat down to watch it, and was blown away. I mean, because I knew nothing going in, you know, which I think is probably the best way to do this.
That's the best thing. That's why I won't say anything, and I'm being very vague, yeah. Yeah,
because it's so... The movie is very layered, and it's just so effective at just being like, I'm very unsettled here. I don't think I like this, you know, and I'm going to go watch that again, because that is just...
I really want to watch this with my wife if she can handle it, because I just want to... I want to know what they think. You know, like, yeah, it's creepy as heck, though. Like, seriously, you need something else to occupy your mind afterwards. Like, you really need Dodgeball on or something. Airplane.
Yeah, because not right at all.
No, but that was great. I was like, oh, this is actually very good.
Yeah, that was the thing, that it was like the sleeper that I think it's only like kind of cult status. That not a lot of people even still know about or anything. And so, yeah, it is.
David Pryor is the director, and the lead who plays the detective is James Badge Dale. I don't think a lot of people know his name, but you've probably seen him in a bunch of stuff that you would have recognized, like The Departed, 13 Hours, Iron Man, World War Z. Like, he's in a bunch. Yeah.
Yep. I like him as an actor a lot. Okay. Last one.
Yeah.
That we watched this together. It's called Gonjiam Haunted Asylum, and it is a Korean found footage horror.
I thought you had seen this. This is why you recommended it for us to watch it.
I just saw, as I was doom scrolling through Twitter, somebody had posted like a still of it. And I don't even remember what they said about it, but I didn't know what it was. And so I just was like, oh, what is this? And found the title, looked it up on IMDb, and I was like, maybe it might be good. I don't know, you know? And so wanted to try it. Now, unfortunately for me, I watched it on Freevee through Prime, which means there were ads interspersed throughout this. So it was just unfortunate that it broke tension at all the wrong moments. It was also on Peacock, I think, and one or two other streaming services that I subscribe to, so I should have just searched first versus just watching.
I couldn't find it anywhere in the UK. I found I find where can I watch this online free, and there was a dodgy clickable link, and I watched that, and that was fine. Just use a VPN or something to protect your PC. Yeah.
Yes. So you have this. For me, it feels a little bit like Deadstream. And what was that other movie I just watched? Chad Gets the Axe.
Yeah, I would include that and Blair Witch, probably.
Yeah. Where you have this group of, one kind of like I don't know if he's really a YouTuber, but they have a channel, they have a website and everything, and so they do crazy
very
stunts.
Serious about it.
Yeah, they are, and it's all about horror, all about scary things. And so they're going into this one of which they make a point of saying this several times, CNN's 7 scariest places on Earth, and which I don't even know if that's a true thing or not, but doesn't matter.
I was thinking first, I thought it was CNN, the news channel, but maybe I thought actually in there they might have a news channel that is CNN.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah, because it would be odd for them to reference an American CNN news reports on.
Well, one of the girls, though, even though she's Korean, she does
Charlotte. Travel around. Yeah.
Well, and she lives in the U.S. She's.
Oh, well, maybe she's the one that brought it. Yeah, I just thought it was a weird thing for CNN to be covering. I was like, oh, okay.
Agreed. Yeah. So I don't know. You're right. I didn't even think about that. That it could just be a totally different name and not actually the cable news network. But they go into this asylum where there's all this lore about how all of the patients disappeared and then or they died, and then the director of that just disappeared. So they go, there's a locked door, room 402, that nobody's ever been able to open. But anybody that visits the asylum, at midnight or whatever, they're going in and they disappear. And so you have this group, and you get to see. I mean, they're all done up with cameras. So
yeah, you got like the head camera, you've got the physical cameras, torches. Still trying to figure out how they were powering the man lights, because I know for a fact you need a generator and long cables for that.
Some of them you can use batteries now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Because mine I've got you, and it's like my. Yeah, you need a lot of power for that.
Exactly. Yeah. Some of them you just, they have like big battery packs on the back or whatever.
Okay, that makes sense.
So it has some very messed up imagery in it. What I think I appreciate the most is how they set the atmosphere, because they just flash between all of these camera angles and camera shots where I am literally like straining to see if I can see anything in the half dark. Is there something moving? Is there something I'm supposed to see?
They really play with the shadows. Like, was I meant to see? Was there something? And then occasionally they'll show you, they'll go back, and there was something. So that makes it even more. I think that's a clever technique. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So it definitely ramps up. The last act gets like,
So I don't actually think there's a full movie here. I think you could have just done it as a short and stuck it onto YouTube or something. The moment they arrive at the house, I think the movie should have started there, and we could have got to know the characters beforehand. Everything beforehand was redundant and a waste of time, apart from one item of clothing.
Yes, because there is there's a good chunk of time spent them getting there.
Yeah, and we don't even really get to know them. They're just shooting the breeze and talking nonsense.
There's only one character that it like where it makes the most sense, because he displays himself to be like all machismo and not afraid of anything. And yet we know that he's putting on airs, and then we see it later. So
where I started to enjoy it more was when I was rooting for them to die, because I found the characters to be so annoying, and especially the girls that were just screaming the whole time. There's a lot of screaming, and I was just, shut up.
But come on, when they're in that one spot as they're as they're running, and then you have that.
Oh no, I did this. I was watching on my Mac and I went, nope. My wife looks at me. Is like, "Is that scary?" Yep.
It was wrong, and parts of it even remind me of like Incantation. Where they're repeating the thing. You're like,
that was so creepy. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So there's the visual scariness when it does that. I don't even know how they did some of the stuff. There's a moment where the door's flung open and the actual body of the person just like flies in the air and looks like they were chucked and then lands on there. I was like, how did they do that? That was very real. The thing in the background, like I was mentioning earlier, the thing in the background, shining the torch at it, moving the torch away, trying to open the door, looking. I was like, oh my God, I know what's going to happen. I know there's a jump scare coming. I know there's a big creepy face in my face.
They drew it out though so effectively because it was multiple times, and the final thing which I don't understand. I mean, I know she needed to be able to use the light to see where she's at, but you see the light pans and then it pans back and then it pans and then it pans back, and you're like, but there's this one scene where it pans back and there's nothing there, and then slowly something, and I'm like, no.
It was very difficult to understand the rules, though. Like, are they spirits or are they physical beings? Like, I was like, they seem to have bodies. I know some of the group were like, there was who gets possessed. I don't know the rules of that. Does it have trans-dimensional powers? Because there seem to be weird rules about like where people were. And not all of them were in the room, but I guess if you were just associated with touching anything in that place, then you were doomed from beginning. Yes. There's a doll in this that I didn't find scary at all. Like, they could have made the doll scary. I was just like, what is that? I just like, oh, nice doll.
No, I was with a girl. Don't touch things. Don't touch that.
No, I get it. Like,
yeah.
But also, you guys are like... You're surprised when you go hunting for ghosts and spirits in one of the most haunted places on the planet,
and you find something.
And you find something.
Yeah. True. Yeah. Absolutely. No, I did. There was a portion where a visual changed, and individuals recognized the change.
Oh yeah.
But there's also some deviousness going on, which. I mean, there's one, you have your antagonist and your villain in this, which is the haunted asylum.
Yeah, for sure.
But then there's another, and
there is also, I think it's just fair to say, the guy that's controlling, he wants to get everything, like they call him the captain, and he wants to get all the footage, and he wants to get a good show. Mm-hmm. And the scarier it is, the better, even if you have to accentuate or make up some stuff. Mm-hmm. So in amongst all of that, there's the real stuff going on, which is it was a nice mix.
It was, yeah, it was fun. I mean, it definitely, it has a creep factor to it, and it's like, yuck, nope, don't like that. I want to watch it now without the ads because I think
that'll definitely help. I want to watch it from the beginning of like after the first half an hour.
Yeah.
That just felt like a real waste to me. Yeah.
It was, yeah, because like if I think to Deadstream, which is a comedy, but
also creepy though. Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, no. It had a lot of real chills to it. But the way that it starts off allows us to instantly get to know him in a very short period of time.
Yeah.
Versus this one, I like how it begins because it sets the stage for what they're going to encounter. And then we have all of that nonsense that just them eating pizza, which is why them at a lake, which I don't even think is them. It's just old footage.
Yeah.
Being, you know what
There's
I mean?
no point. It's just wasting time.
No.
Yeah. Get to it. Yeah. Because again, people might have tapped out by the time you start your movie.
Exactly. Yeah. Once you get to it. So anyway, if you've never seen it, I mean, it's definitely worth a watch. But okay. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Hey, thank you for joining us. We hope that you have enjoyed just the huge discussion. Don't forget to let us know about if you eat the banana shell or the skin and what it's called. Guess for the movie quote quiz. Let us know some musical artists or bands that you like that maybe not a lot of people know about. We would love to hear about that. We have our Patreon opportunity. Starts at £1. There are some videos that are outside of our paywall so that you can even just get a sense of what we get up to. And then there's different tiers that you can, interact with that give you varying degrees of requests, but it all starts at £1 and that gets you in and that gets you access to all of the videos. We have our individual YouTube channels, which you are watching on now. If you're watching on Chris's, head over to Ruben's at the Ruby Tuesday. Do all that YouTube-y stuff, like, share, subscribe. If you're on Ruben's, head over to Chris, Movies and Munchies, do the exact same. We have an audio edition part of a podcast. So it's even longer than this with more information. We're going to talk about the thing that either didn't make our list. We're going to talk about, it could be the worst thing also, we watched an additional movie together that we're going to talk about. It's not Attack of the Killer Tomatoes. I'm not sure classic is the correct word, but it is a word. And it is a movie, and it had a runtime and an end. We talk about news, entertainment news, and then give you a whole bunch of titles that you could put on your watch calendar for the coming week. So we invite you to join that there. You can listen to us on any podcasting platform, basically, that you choose. Yes, with that, we will see you next week. Take care.